Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is Mixtressrae. You're watching Mixtress video. So I'm doing something that I've been planning to do for a couple of months now, which is talk about my favorites of the year. I have felt weird about doing this because gotta get her not just little buns in, or maybe not. I'll just show this up close later. Okay, so I want to do a disclaimer here, which is I'm going to be showing you some of my favorites of the year. And some of these things are things that you could choose to purchase for yourself. But I want you to know right now, you don't need any of these things. And you likely have things that are already your favorite versions of these things. And you don't need any of mine. You know, I felt weird about doing a video like this just because every time I watch someone else's favorites video, I end up like wanting half the fucking things that they talk about. And I'm not trying to make you want things you don't have. I'm not trying to do that. But I also want to share with you the things that I've been enjoying this year. So I have next to me a pile of decks, a pile of books, and then I also have some visual aids on my phone that I'm going to be showing you theoretically, except, where's my phone? Okay, it's over here. Okay, this is going to be pretty disjointed, but yeah, let's get started. I have this out. This is my journal that I started April 28th, and I'm already almost done with it. It's crazy. I've been writing, so this is like my actual very favorite thing is rediscovering journaling again. And I've just been writing and writing and writing, and this used to be pretty natural for me to do a lot of self-reflection in journals, and just in like the last, 5 or 10 years, I've transitioned into doing what I used to do in a journal more publicly, like on this YouTube channel, for example. And lately I just haven't felt like it's a good idea for me to be that public about my private self. So I'm journaling again, which is great. It's great to remember that I don't need others to validate my thoughts and feelings, because no one's going to see what's in my journal. So no one will be validating those particular thoughts and feelings. And that's okay. I don't need to have that all the time. And it's just remembering that I don't need to have that all the time is a part of this process. And it's been really, really good. But I mean, I do also have this out because this is where I wrote down all of my favorites. So that I can share some of them with you. Let's see, where can I put this? Maybe I'll just put it up here so that I can see it. Yeah, okay. So, just want to make sure I hit everything. Other thing that I have been really enjoying, I do want to pull out a visual aid for this, and I didn't do it beforehand, so hold please while I find it. Of course, when you're looking for a specific card, there it is. Okay. Oh, my nails aren't completely dry, even though I sat for like an hour. God. So the other thing I've been really enjoying is riding my bicycle again. This is the visual aid I have for that, because I didn't want to actually show you what I look like on my own bicycle, because it's not as cool as this. But I feel as cool as this, and that's the important part, right? Yeah, I've just been riding my bike again as the weather's getting warmer, and it's just really great. I have particular places that I ride my bike to. I haven't yet gotten into the habit of riding my bike to work. I don't know that I will, because I don't want to arrive at work sweaty. That's just never a good way to start your day. I mean, I arrive at work sweaty most of the time anyway, but So, riding my bike is another thing that I very much am enjoying right now. And also, this is a silly visual for this, and it's not like I have to have a visual for this, but I looked it up anyway. I'm also really enjoying just sitting on my porch right now. You know, I've just been sitting on my porch, reading books, writing in my journal, and going on walks. I've been learning how to be in my body again for what feels like a long dormant period of being chronically online. I'm learning how to be in my body again, and it's been incredibly helpful for me. So yeah, sitting on the porch, riding my bike, going for walks, reading books, journaling, these are all things that I would consider to be grounding practices in my life. And it's been really, really good. I guess this is just a recent acquisition. This is a pop figure, Nadia from What We Do in the Shadows. I love her fucking hair. It is so cool. And she's also got like cool details of like little rings on her hands. And of course she's got the vampire teeth. And this makes my 9th pop figure. Like, you would think that I'm super into pop figures. But what I like about them is that they're essentially dolls for an affordable price, right? So I have her in this little coffin shelf that I can't really show you right now. But she hangs out in the bottom of my little coffin shelf, and she kind of looks like she's praying almost. I don't think that's what she's supposed to look like, but she kind of does. So it's just funny. I have her next to my little area. I kind of want to put her back right now, but I'll keep her in the shot just so you can admire her. So that was something that I actually pre-ordered it because I found out about it like a week before it came out, and I was like, oh yeah, I need that. So she is my 9th pop figure. So she's kind of a favorite. What else? Books. Let me show you a few books that I actually physically have here in person, and then later I will show you some books that I think I just have screenshots of their covers. I have read exactly one fiction book in the year of our Lord, 2023, and it is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. It was in a favorites video that Racine from Almoon513 had posted, and it sounded like something I would be interested in, and it was. I think I was able to get it on Thrift Books for really cheap for the paperback version, and I knew that that's what I needed personally, because checking it out from the library, like, for me, fiction books take me a long time to read. I don't usually read a lot of fiction. So this is the only fiction book I've read so far this year, and it took me 3 to 4 months to read it. But now that I'm familiar with the world of this fantasy novel, essentially, and it's going to be, I think, at least a trilogy. The second book's already out. I have not bought that one yet because it's not available in paperback yet, so I'm going to wait until it is, because I don't like hardback books most of the time. They're just too hard for me to hold. So, yeah, what can I say about... I'm terrible at describing, like, book plots and things. If you want to read the back of this, here it is. But essentially, it's a character that she can see ghosts. She can see creatures that have passed on, and she gets into like an Ivy League school because people need her, like an occult Ivy League school because people need her, like, sorry, I'm going to move the tripod because it's like bumping into the thing. Okay. I think that's better. Anyway, she is a character that I somewhat identify with, not because I can also see ghosts or anything, but like just because she comes from no money and she would be considered like, I don't think they call her this in the book, but like the character reads as what some might call trashy. And so I very much identify with that, being growing up, woman of limited means, etc., etc. So I really did sort of identify with the character, and yeah, I ended up getting into it for sure, but it did take me a long time to read, so I do think that rereading it now that... And that's the thing with me with fiction too, it's like I feel really distrustful of new fiction worlds and environments and unfamiliar characters, and it takes me a long time to trust the characters enough to get into the world. So like, I think now that I've read it, it would be fun to read again, now that I know what's going to happen and all of that stuff, and just luxuriate in this book while I'm waiting for the second book to come out on paperback. So that's my favorite fiction book of the year, the only fiction book I've read so far this year. This one I have not finished yet, but this one is Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. This was recommended to me by Grace, and this is essentially like Law of Attraction before Law of Attraction, because this book was first published, hold on. This book was first published, why is there no year on here? Am I in the wrong spot? Yes, I am. Okay, cool. 1979. March 1979 was the first printing of this book. And I think this particular edition is 82, which is cute because I was born in 82. No, this is 85. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay. So this is really interesting. This is more of a short and sweet, simple book that kind of helps you journal your way into like more positive thinking, more creative visualization, visualizing your life as you want it to be and taking steps to get there. And it's much more of a process book. It's like you read a chapter, it's got some prompts for meditations or journaling prompt type things, and then you spend time with writing and doing the activities and exercises and stuff like that. And I haven't done a lot of the activities and exercises yet, but this is one that I'm kind of just doing my first quick read through, and then I'm going to go back into it and identify some of the exercises and meditations that I actually do want to spend time doing. This is kind of it's really good though. It has a lot of like sort of what you might call like new agey language, but it's coming from a very genuine and honest place, I feel. And it's super useful especially for people that like to journal. So this is a great journaling tool, I would say. And then, this one's not gonna fit in the shot really because it's kind of big. We're just gonna have to knock Nadia over a little bit. But this is a Frida Kahlo biography that I am reading. I'm only like a fifth of the way through the book, I would say. It's very thorough, and it actually reads really well. I have been enjoying, I was able to get it for like $5 on Thrift Books, and it's actually been really fucking cool. And I kind of hit a lull where I decided I wasn't wanting to read everything about Frida Kahlo at the moment, so I'll probably just kind of dip into this book periodically throughout the year. maybe even into next year before I finish it, but I am enjoying it so far. So that is that. I think next I will show you perfume. I've been kind of revisiting my perfume collection and thinking about like what I love, what I don't love, I've been thinking about perfume as glamour magic lately, and like trying to figure out how I want to engage with perfume as glamour magic. I mean, it's always like putting on perfume is always like glamour magic. Like even if you're not really thinking about it like that, it kind of is, you know, because you're cultivating a scent. Like for me, I want to have scents that people recognize as me. So I have been making some of my own perfumes. I actually should have brought one of those out, but I didn't. I do want to geek out on that though. Okay, so I'll have to pause to go get the self-made perfumes. Hold on. Okay. So the two that I made myself are these two with like the label maker tape on it. So this one is Bird Mad Girl. It has become one of, at this point I have like 3 to 5 signature scents, quote unquote, but this has become one of them, and I'm so happy to say that because I made it myself, guys. Fuck yeah. So this one is mostly clove and vanilla. There's also a little bit of tobacco, and a little bit of licorice, like barely perceptible. Yeah, it's not exactly like, this is only like my second formulation of this particular, of me trying to make my own perfume. I'm not using like super high quality ingredients, so it could be better, but I have been wearing it a lot lately, particularly paired with another clove cigarettes perfume that I have, that I did not make, just to kind of deepen it up, because mine's a little, doesn't have the best staying power, but anyway, it's a really good start. I think every time I run out of this, I will try again, making it even better, and hopefully one day I will feel really confident about this blend. But so far I'm actually wearing this a lot, and I made it myself. And it's really not that hard to make your own oil-based perfumes. If you are interested, basically what I do is vitamin E oil and almond oil. Although I use the almond oil as a carrier oil, and almond oil does eventually expire. So there are other alternatives that don't like go bad eventually, but I do like using almond oil. So for me, I used almond oil as a carrier oil. Like a third of this bottle is almond oil and vitamin E, just a few drops of vitamin E oil. And then I think vitamin E oil is used as like kind of a preservative. I don't know. And then I used fragrance oils for the other components the smelly parts. So like about a third to a half. Well, I think it's more than a half. Anyway, don't quote me on any of that, but essentially it's really not that hard. The only problem with making your own fragrance oils is you do sort of have to wait for a while for it to like start really smelling good. Like this didn't start smelling that great until it had been set aside for a couple of months. And now it's starting to smell better, and it's smelling better all the time actually. So I'm actually really proud of this one. Like if I was ever gonna make a scent to sell to other people, it would be a clove vanilla, and it would be called Bird Mad Girl. And then my other one that I made for myself that I don't love quite as much, but I have been wearing it a little bit more lately. This is cherry, almond, and leather. Mostly, I tried to make it because I have a sample of a perfume called Cherry Punk that I really like, and I was trying to make a dupe of Cherry Punk, and it's not terribly dissimilar for my first attempt at a cherry leather perfume. And it's named after a garbage song. So, Super Vixen. Been wearing that a little bit more lately, especially for summer times. And then this is my favorite perfume that I've bought this year that I did not make, and it is called Goblin from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab. This one is coconut and patchouli and benzoin, I think, are the only listed notes. So it's not super complex, but it's just effortless. Oh, for me, patchouli and coconut together is, I'm obsessed, and I can't believe I didn't just, this is one of their like permanent collection that they always have in stock, or as far as I know, they always have it in stock, and it's like $20 for the bottle, and it just, they've had it forever, and it's just really fucking good. So, would recommend if the shipping to your country for Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab isn't outrageous. That one's affordable if the shipping isn't outrageous, you know. So yeah, that's some perfume loves from 2023, and I made 2 of them. I'm so proud of that. Anyway, this is a long ass video already. Okay, I am now going to show you some screenshots on my phone of other things I've been enjoying. So this one is a TV show, Mrs. Davis. This stars Betty Gilpin and some other people as well. This one is like, oh my god, guys, I'm obsessed. My mom and I are watching it. I've watched it all the way through twice. And it's, I don't even know who this show is for. I don't even really know what this show is about. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, but the premise is that there is an algorithm that has sort of like, it's not like really, I don't even know how to describe it without spoiling anything. But anyway, the protagonist, the savior of our story, is a nun. She has a very close relationship with Jesus, and you do get to see him, and he's fucking hot. And she's sort of like, it's her against the algorithm, and it's, I mean, it's not really a dystopia, though, because it's a world that's not very far removed from the one that we live in. It is just a very fun show. I mean, from what I just described, it doesn't sound fun, but it is. It is a fun show. I would highly recommend to anyone that is okay with, like, just not necessarily knowing what's going on, but just enjoying the process of a fun show. Especially if you already like Betty Gilpin as an actor. I find her so fascinating. She's also written a book that was one of my favorite books that I read last year called All the Women in My Brain or something like that. She is just like, you know how Jim Carrey is kind of bananas in interviews and shit? She gives a similar vibe, and I am so here for that vibe. And her acting is also, anyway, I really fucking love her. She was in Glow. If you've never seen Glow, I know I've said it before, like, I swear I mentioned it in every single favorites video I have, but, like, Glow is amazing. And so is she. Other favorite TV show that I've been, I'm thinking about doing some sort of critical analysis of this show, like on my podcast or something. This is just not looking that great, is it? Just showing you, you know, screenshots, but whatever. It is what it is. Is what it is. Maybe I can, like, force it to focus on just that one thing. Yeah, it's not really working. Anyway, Yellow Jackets. It is on Showtime, but Showtime is also available on some other app right now too. I think it's Paramount? I don't know. Anyway, it has had 2 or 3 seasons. I don't even fucking remember how many seasons it's had, but it just finished up its most recent season. And I don't know that the plots in general are extremely well done on Yellow Jackets, but okay, so the premise of the show, if you haven't heard of it, it's like there's a plane crash in the 90s with a bunch of kids in high school that are on a soccer team together. I think it's soccer. I don't even fucking know. I'm pretty sure it's soccer. And it's a girls' soccer team. Their plane crashes as they're coming home from nationals or as they're on their way to nationals. I can't remember. It's not really the point. But the show itself goes back and forth between present time and the 90s when this happened to them. So it took, I don't know how long for them to get rescued. And so, you know, you deal with all of the sort of like, what do you do when you are in survival mode with a bunch of other fucking kids and their coach. So there was one adult amongst them. One. And, yeah, so psychologically, it's super interesting. And there's this entire, like, supernatural component that, like, it's still up in the air if there actually is a supernatural component or if, like, you know, psychologically they're all just really fucked up from this thing that happened to them when they were kids. And it's just really interesting to see how each of these characters have dealt with their PTSD surrounding what happened to them. And you don't really know everything that's happened to them, even at the end of season 2 or 3 or whatever fucking season just ended. I don't even remember. You don't even really know everything that's happened to them, but so that story is unfolding slowly, and so is the story in present time. And it's just, the casting is brilliant. The characters are so interesting in the way that they're dealing with this incredible trauma, the way that they have dealt with this incredible trauma is different for each character and totally makes sense, knowing what kind of kids they were versus what kind of adults they are now. And it's so interesting. I find it really fascinating. And the music in this show, like, of course I'm partial because I grew up, I am a few years younger than these characters are in current time, like, because they were in, like, their senior year of high school in, like, 94, 95. So yeah, they're about, like, 5-6 years older than me. But the music is mostly music from the mid-90s. And it's just all very nostalgic. There is an official Yellow Jackets playlist on Spotify that if you are at all near my age, you might enjoy this particular playlist because it's mostly just shit that would be familiar to you from the 90s. It's, like, so good. Anyway, so in no small part I am partial to this show because of the music, but I also think the way that the characters are written is really fascinating. Some of the main actors in it, there are actually some big names. Christina Ricci and Juliette Lewis are the two that I can name. There's also a third actress that I know really well, but I don't actually know her name. But anyway, the point is, really good show. What else? Oh yeah, Sitting on the Porch. This is another book that I read this year, Unmasking Autism by Devin Price, The Power of Embracing Our Hidden Neurodiversity. So as far as, like, the actual writing style, it's really dry. So that's not my favorite, but the information is really good in this book, I would say. Have I talked about this book already? I feel like I maybe already have talked about this book. I read it very early in the year, but I don't think I've done a favorites video this year yet. Anyway, if you are autistic and of a marginalized, any marginalized group, like if you identify as a woman, or if you are a person of color, like, this is specifically talking to how neurodivergence presents in marginalized communities, in, like, the not typical representation of autism, and by typical, you know, it's the representations of white cis male autism, right? So this book I would recommend. I do kind of want to buy it when it comes out on paperback. I don't think it is yet. Music, that's the other big thing that I have been I am a person that when I'm not listening to music, I'm not okay. And I haven't been listening to music consistently for a long time. But I'm coming out of a very long depression right now, I think. And part of that is I'm listening to music again. One of the things that I'm listening to on repeat is Bob Moses has an album called Desire, and it is a continuous dance mix. It's a little bit longer than an EP, but it's not quite album length. Like, you can play the whole thing and have a great dance session. I'm just saying. I fucking love this album. Also, another album that's been on repeat is Nick Drake's Pink Moon. You might think, okay, you're coming out of a dark depression, but you're listening to Nick Drake's Pink Moon? Yes. I am just so struck by just the spaciousness of Nick Drake's music. The fact that it's really just like him and a guitar most of the time. And the melodies and the emotions, and I mean, so many like indie artists of the early 2000s were like essentially trying to be Nick Drake. And I don't like many of those things. That's not my vibe. This isn't really normally my vibe, but he had such a singular voice, I would say, and this is the type of music that I would call incense for my ears. Nick Drake is incense for my ears, so is Jose Gonzalez. Yeah, I'm into this, and I've been listening to this a lot. Also, I finally got around to listening to Beyonce's new album from last year. I don't like all of it, but there's like and this one's also a continuous mix, to a certain extent. Like, the songs flow into each other. It's supposed to be a dance album, and I am very much a dancing queen. I love to dance. And my favorite from the album by far is Summer Renaissance. I also really like Break Your Soul. Break My Soul. Whatever. That one. I also really like that one. But Summer Renaissance is kind of a cover / reimagining of Donna Summer and her iconic song, I Feel Love. I just forgot the name of it for a second. One of my top 10 songs of all time, I Feel Love by Donna Summer. It is a part of who I am. And so this is Beyonce's reimagining of it. Summer Renaissance is that particular song, and it ends the album. I do think it's a good album overall, but even just months after first discovering it, I don't love all of it as much as I did in the beginning. That's, for me, like, pop stars like Beyonce, like, I can really, really get into their music when I first hear it, and then it's like I wrap my head around it and I'm done with it. So I listened to this again last night or the night before, and some of it still holds up for me, but not all of it. So I don't think this is going to be like long-standing listen in my collection, but this song in particular I think is going to stick around because I like how in this album she's really reimagining some of the greats in club music, dance music. Yeah, she really like gets in there and reworks familiar things, which is something that she in particular is really good at. She's good at that kind of thing, really. Oh my God, speaking of kind of cliche musicians to talk about. But I fucking love Love this song. Lana Del Rey's new album. What is it called again? Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? I have listened to the whole album all the way through once, but nothing really stood out to me except this A&W song. And I have been listening to it. It's a 7-minute song, and it goes through like different, I don't know, it's like two different songs kind of put together. It is like, the lyrics are really, really fucking dark too. I actually like looked up the lyrics last night because they're not available on Spotify, like how usually you can like scroll up and see the lyrics, which I do all the time. For some reason Spotify doesn't have it, so I looked them up, and there's some stuff about like rape and asking for it, and just like interesting sort of like almost feminist commentary from a character, Lana Del Rey, she kind of, at least her public persona, really portrays an anti-feminist attitude. But in a lot of ways, Lana Del Rey is a drag persona of whatever her real name is. It's like Lizzie something? Lizzie Grant? I don't know. Anyway. She's very much a drag persona. I don't think you're supposed to think that she is her lyrics. But this one's just, it is the song of the summer for me. So far, I have been listening to it on repeat, and I love the word whore. If you haven't heard this song, A and W in this case stands for American whore. This is the experience of being an American whore. That is the main lyric in the song. And I am really into Lana Del Rey in the summer. Always am. And so I'm glad to have this song. I am not going to be buying this entire album, and I haven't actually bought this song yet, but I probably will, because I do still buy songs and put them on my iPod and things like that. I still do shit like that in 2023. Deal with it. I also have a VCR hooked up and ready to go. That is just my cat. Okay, so she actually is on my favorites list too, so let me find a better picture of her. Because that one was not supposed to be the picture. Oh, this one's kind of cute. Just like looking at it closely to make sure there isn't anything super personal on this. Okay. So my cat, my new kitten, she is now 6 months old. She is definitely a favorite. I've never had like a small kitten before. So it has been a new experience for me to have a kitten, and she is incredible. She's so sweet. She's also a total demon, and I love her a lot. And this is her up in a space that she shouldn't be in, next to my Ganesh thing. Anyway, so those are some more favorites. Oh my god, how long have I been talking? Like fucking 45 minutes? I keep almost picking up the candle to take a drink from it. Okay, what I have left is a stack of decks. What you're really here for, right? So let me move my little perfume display away and talk about some decks. So I went on a bit of an Oracle buying spree so far this year. So I have several Oracle decks that I'm liking right now, but I'm only going to show you two of them. High Desert Oracle. This is one that is like a landscapey animal nature deck that has great keywords and nice little like sayings at the bottom. This one is, and it's very affordable. You can get it on Etsy it was $14 like with free shipping for me. And I really do like it a lot. I like desert landscapes, and I like how the font gives me very 90s vibes. Just the deck itself, like the format of it being just like a simple picture with like a little description in readable font at the bottom. It's just easy to love. It's very easy to love. And it's works well. And then my other oracle deck I'm going to show you is in a bag. Keeping it in this Murder of Crows, one of those silly like Los Garabeo bags. It's the only one I've ever had. My mom gave it to me for Christmas. Urban Crow Oracle. Again, I would call this a pretty basic, well-rounded kind of oracle deck, and it has crows, and I actually like this better than the Crow Tarot by the same artist. Her artwork for me tends to be, do I want to give a critique of it right now? First of all, she seems like a very nice person, okay? But for me personally, her artwork most of the time tends to be, composition-wise, I don't love it a lot of the time. And it seems to have a lot going on in it. But this works, that style of artwork works better for me in an oracle format. So, yeah, so far I was able to get this used on eBay for a very reasonable price. I think it was like less than $15. It was definitely less than $20, including shipping. And so I'm very happy with it. I've used it in a lot of pick-a-pile readings and will continue to do so. It's becoming a new sort of like basic essential as far as oracle decks are concerned for me. And then I have 3 tarot decks to show you. I've actually only bought, I wrote it down, hold on. I've only bought 5 tarot decks all year. I've only acquired 5 all year or something, I think. I wrote that down. Let me make sure I've said everything else on here as far as my favorites. Yeah. Also, like other music, I kind of want to mention more music that I've been loving lately. I have this whole list in my journal. Let me see. Hold on. Why don't I prepare for things better? Okay, just to cover up the other page. I'll put this book right here, but there we go. So, just some other music that I'm super loving. So I already told you about the Bob Moses Desire album, and I already told you about Beyonce's I Feel Love cover, which I couldn't remember the name of when I wrote it down. Also, Wise Blood, her album Titanic Rising, is also kind of incense for your ears. It's, oh, she has such a beautiful voice and so cinematic and kind of confessional lyrics. Yeah, really honest and open lyrics. I fucking love that album. And I've been listening to it. I've been into her song Andromeda for a long time, which is from that album, but I've been listening to like the whole album lately. Also, Erasure's song Hallowed Ground. That's a new one that I've just discovered. I kind of want to look up the lyrics right now. Sorry guys, I know this video is like really fucking long, but if you're into this shit, you're into this shit, so. Cool, I'm gonna look up the lyrics. Wait while I look up lyrics. Hallowed Ground, Erasure, lyrics. This is a fucking old song, but I hadn't even heard it until recently. Oh shit. Just missed it. Okay. Everybody's intent on killing someone. The streets are closed and there's a kid on the run. The bullets scream out from gun to gun. Everybody's intent on being someone. The cold and darkness of the criminal dawn. Wrapped in blankets, gotta keep ourselves warm. A child in the arms of a teenage mum. Who will be there? Who will be the next victim of the criminal dawn? So here's the part of the lyrics that really gets me. Old friends meet on the edge of town, sharing conversation, hoping things will get better soon. While their children meet, got the world at their feet, not knowing what's around the corner, are we living for an uncertain future? I misheard that "are we living for an uncertain future?" I misheard that as we are living in an uncertain future. Like, the way that the song reads for me is there's a hopefulness in, like, even though our future is uncertain, we're still talking. We're still being around, we're being with each other, we're loving each other. I don't know. That's the vibe that I get from the song, but the lyrics that I just read for you do not necessarily convey that, but that is the vibe that I get from the song. It's this, like a lot of Erasure songs, there's like, the lyrics are kind of dark, but the songs themselves give you this feeling of like happiness and hopefulness, and they're very dancey. That's just my newest favorite Erasure song. Also, Chelsea Wolfe's Birth of Violence album is another one that's been on repeat for me. It is a more sparse and acoustic sounding record. It's her most recent one that came out a few years ago. I already told you about that Lana Del Rey song and Pink Moon. Another song that I've just sort of rediscovered lately is Like a Feather by Nick Acosta. It's just a really fucking good song. Okay, now that I've spent forever talking to you about music, which is the main thing that I'm loving right now, let's be honest. I'll just set that chariot card down in a puddle from my drink. Okay, now let's get down to the tarot decks. I'm basically picking out of as my favorites for the year 3 out of 5 that I've gotten this year. And it doesn't mean that I don't like the other 2, but the other 2 I still don't entirely trust. This one was gifted to me by my friend Rachel. Hi Rachel, if you're watching. Pulp Girls is just, it's just an RWS clone with women in it, kind of like Modern Witch. But I just love the art style. I love the sort of like 70s vibes. The cardstock kind of sucks, but it's at least mostly shuffleable. And so I'm like throwing the cards around. I'm just not at a good angle for flipping through decks right now. It's just so cute, and it's affordable, and I mean, especially affordable for me because I got it for free as a gift. But yeah, it's like I can find it in my small town bookstore actually, and it's just very accessible to anyone and affordable. Love it. So, Pulp Girls, one of my favorites of the year. Another one that, like, actually, I am loving the Buffy Tarot. I am. And weirdly, I don't really use it for myself, but I pull it out for pickup, as you might have noticed, I pull it out for pick-a-pow readings somewhat often. Because when I'm reading with this deck, the fact that I know Buffy so well, and this is the perfect year for me to get the Buffy Tarot too, because I just finished my Buffy project for my podcast. And I'm just, the fact that I know these characters so well and I know the show so well, it really takes my readings to a different level. Like when I pull the Two of Swords, I'm going to have the added depth of thinking about Ben as a character and what Ben was going through whenever he was in this particular outfit at this particular point in his character's development. Even if it doesn't make total sense for the actual cards, like, that isn't as important as the character arcs. I'm thinking about the emotional reality of the characters when I'm using this deck to read for people, and it's taking those particular readings to a different level that I wouldn't normally expect, because most of the time, pop culture tarot decks are really not that good. And this one is not necessarily like, I mean, it is art-wise. I think more thought was put into it than a lot of these other Inside editions, tarot decks that you might know about. I think more thought was put into this particular deck, but also I'm biased because I know so much about Buffy, so I have so much to bring to the table already just seeing these characters that are so fucking familiar to me. So anyway, I actually am loving that, even though I don't really use it for myself. I just haven't been so far. And the other one is the other tarot. Oop, just bumped the tripod. The other tarot deck is Tarot Avatara. This one is, I just did like kind of a review on it like a week or two ago. But it is, oh, there's my like fucking favorite card right there on top. Now that I'm totally geeking out on Frida Kahlo and her life, and I have that biography that I'm reading. And yeah, I'm really into her as a person, and this is a very emotionally evocative tarot deck. It's kind of based on Thoth as well, and it's just really fucking good. It's well done. This isn't even an art style that normally I would be into, but this particular tarot deck for me is just hitting different. It's very personal, and it's helping me work through some like more difficult emotions, and just finding out about Frida Kahlo's story is doing that for me. Like, I wouldn't necessarily need the tarot deck, but I was lucky enough to receive it as a gift. And so if you are yourself inspired by Frida Kahlo, just like find a biography of her at your local library and read it. And like, it's just hearing her story. I mean, so many people have resonated with her story over the years, right? I am definitely far from the first, but yeah, her story is just incredible. I don't know, it's just something about like the resilience of the human spirit, right? It's the reason that we love storytelling, right? We love to hear when somebody has really overcome a lot in their life. And even though Frida Kahlo's story ends with, they don't know for sure, but she might have chosen to end her own life. It is likely that that is what happened. Even though that's the way her story ended, it's not about that with her. It's about the journey. It's about how she worked within incredibly difficult circumstances. And it's inspiring because, like, if you're the type of person that tends to compare yourself to other people, which I do, I wish I didn't, but I do. If you are that type of person, if you compare yourself to Frida Kahlo's story, most likely you got it better than she did, you know? So you can look at her as an inspiration, like, look at her. Look at her fucking doing her best with what little she was given in this life. You know, I can do my best with what little I'm working with right now too. You know, it's just inspiring. And the receipt of this, receipt? Is that the way you say that? Anyway, the receipt of this gift, when I received this gift, there, I'll just say it like that. It started me on the Frida Kahlo rabbit hole, and it was the rabbit hole I needed to be in. And it was just, you know, a very timely gift, and I do love this as a tarot deck as well. This isn't going to be one that I use super often, but it is one that when I'm ready to deal with the really difficult emotions of life, I'm going to come to this. I mean, I could come to other tarot decks too, but this is one that is going to meet me where I am. And that's something that, like, a concept that is important to me with art, especially with music. Like, I want music that's going to meet me where I am. You know, I like listening to music that other people might say is really fucking depressing. because it's cathartic to meet art, to have art meet you where you are. And I will just leave it at that because this is like over an hour long. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.